Yes, welcome back. If you just joined us, it is The Press, and this morning we're taking a look at something very important, something that touches our heart as Nigerians, even Nigerians in diaspora, and of course the international community who are watching from afar. This morning we're taking a look at insecurity in Nigeria, call for self-defense, prelude to anarchy. I have friends in the house who would help us, understand the situation. Like I said before we went on break, Benue and of course Plateau State, fresh in our hearts this season, the crisis, the killings, the tears, the blood. This is something that has gone on for too long, and sometimes you're speechless. Sometimes the visuals, for those of us that are not on ground, to actually feel the pain of what is going on in these areas, the visuals that we see keeps us mum. All right, I have friends in the house who will help us understand this situation or challenge that we're facing as Nigerians. They are usual suspects, like I love to call them. My guest this morning, Laniyi. She is a social analyst, businesswoman, like I say, a woman of many parts. She is right here looking all regal. Tayo, it's so nice to have you on The Press this morning.
Thank you very much.
Always happy that you respond anytime you're called.
Thank you so much for the privilege.
Yes. And of course, the scale is never balanced without a gentleman to help us make it go the way the way we wish. We have Comrade Dr. Duke Alamboye, is the president of Nigeria Youth Organization and chairman Green Assembly Initiative. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much.
The both of you are looking so beautiful. And
we're just not returning from Easter.
You're looking so cool. It's a positive feeling, when you think about what is going on in the nation. State of the nation, there's a lot happening. But again, like I love to start the show, I would want your take, Tayo, on your state of mind on Nigeria this morning.
All right, thanks for the opportunity. My take for the state of the nation is that things are getting really, 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 really bad. And Nigeria needs help. We need help, except God helps. Things will continue to go very bad, especially insecurities. Waking up to see people being killed, people being massacred, things happening all over Benue State and Plateau State. It's something that, we need to beef up urgent security, beef ups. We need the government to intervene and find better solutions concerning these insecurities before we wake up and see that a whole maybe city or a whole state is wiped out with the way things are going, and the insecurities are so much that the Fulani headsmen are doing theirs, the Boko Haram are doing theirs, the kidnappers are doing. In fact, a lot is just happening, and every day people are getting missing. Every day people are being killed, and in fact, to go out is a challenge because once you take public transport, you'll be afraid. You don't know whether you're entering one chance, like we call it here in Nigeria. We don't know. So the government needs to do something very urgent concerning these insecurities in Nigeria.
Okay, that's interesting. I would also want the comrade to let us into his mind on happenings in Nigeria, your state of mind on Nigeria at this moment.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having us this morning. Mixed feelings. For me, it's mixed feelings. We just, as Christians, we all just returned from, first of all, the Muslims returned from the Ramadan. We entered to the Christian fold. We just concluded our Easter amidst lots of, like she cited, amidst lots of insecurity going on in different parts of the country, mostly the northern part of the country. I think today is roving around the north central part of Nigeria, and I think it calls for alarm. We are also delighted the president whom has been out of the country for a while, is also back, and I think it calls for urgent actions.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. So that's the way we're starting the show this morning. And yes, if you just joined us, we're taking a look at insecurity in Nigeria. Call for self-defense, prelude to anarchy. Now, amid rising insecurity in parts of Nigeria, retired Theophilus Danjuma has urged Nigerians all over the country to rise up and defend themselves against bandits and armed groups. And of course, there's been a reaction from Governor Umar Namadi of Jigawa State, who has said he has called for caution against self-defense, stating that such a move would plunge the country into anarchy. So this morning, the question we're asking is to be or not to be. Should Nigerians defend themselves or not? Nigerians defending themselves, as Namadi has said, countering what retired Theophilus Danjuma has called for Nigerians to defend themselves. Would this plunge the country into anarchy? Banditry, kidnapping, insurgency, and rising insecurity in the country has held Nigerians stand still. This has caused a lot of problems. Of course, we shouldn't forget the southwest. Of course, what is happening in the southwest calls for concern. So these are the issues that we're taking a look at. We also, when we call for the break and the phone lines are open, we also want our viewer watching to be part of the discussion, so we get your views. So I'm going to start from the comrade, the call for self-defense. Plateau State, Benue State is in our heart, like what Tayo just said now. Or was it before we came on the show? She was trying to let us, because you traveled to Jos like 2 weeks ago, yes, or thereabouts. I mean, it is, like I say, sometimes it keeps you speechless for those of us who are not on ground to actually feel the heat, the pain of the people who were receiving and actually see friends, family, husbands, brothers, sisters, houses, property, everything they worked for all their lives go up in flames. I have an aunt who lives in Jos, married to a man from Jos. Their house was burnt. They escaped with their children and their lives. That's all they have right now. So comrade, I would want your take on, and not just insecurity, or should we start from there before we begin to talk about self-defense, as it were?
Okay, thank you very much. I think, to me, in my opinion, it's a little bit disappointing when our elder statesman, Theophilus Danjuma, had to make that public statement. You don't complicate issues in a situation where people are even trying to manage the existing issues. So I felt very disappointed. He was a general. Let's kick back the nation to their times. Was this how they solved the issues of insecurity? We're not going to say that the issues of insecurity is starting today. As an elder statesman, what are his antecedents? What are his preferred solution? What are his advice to government at different level? He has a foundation. What is his foundation? What is he doing? Hence, it has become a concern for the nation and even to him. What is he in his own space trying to contribute to curb this issue? So I think it's not by calling everybody to begin to have arms and ammunition to defend yourself. I think that will really get Nigeria into anarchy, and that is not the best way to go. Now, that is for him. I get very disappointed. I must tell you the truth. It wasn't funny, and I want to thank the governor who replied him aptly, and that is the truth. We shouldn't send our children abroad, send all our families abroad, and stay in a country where we're even trying to manage situations to infuse more pains, use instigating words that will cause more provocation in the polity or in the already escalating national issues we have. That is that. Now, we are talking about Plateau and Benue State. I want to call our attention to peculiarities. We must deliberately differentiate between communal clashes, criminalities, and banditries. They are three different crimes, if I put it that way. They are three different vices that bedevil the society. We are so plunged with calling every activity now banditry, insurgency. That is not true. If you take a critical look at what is happening in Plateau State, this is not the first time. This is not the second time. They are prone and easily get into this their communal clash. So if we identify what the issue is in Plateau State and expatiate it, differentiate it from if it is banditry, if it is criminality, if it is communal clashes, that is where we will now know who and how to handle them. I think, like the presidency sent a message to the governor. He has a lot to do. See, we want to always look at the federal level to solve our issues. The governors have responsibilities. They are not only executive governors of the state, but they are also chief security officers of the state. And allocations are allotted to those activities. You don't say in your state 2 communities are fighting. Today, in the states, they politicize everything. Let me take you closely back to River State. If not for the way people came out and pushed down that factor that was coming, that regional communal factor, a jaw and equal factor, while the fight or the whatever issue that is in River State was purely political and should be seen as a political issue, people started smooth diving. People started contributing to it as though it's a communal issue. If not the way it was handled today, in River State, we hearing the Quay people and the Jaw people fighting. The same thing is happening in Plateau State. I've lived in Plateau State. I've worked there. It is very, very easy. I don't know why they don't have this friendliness. I don't know what to call it. They are not friendly when it comes to communal difference. Their community, 2 close community will have dispute. The next thing is killing. So the governor of that state needs to critically look at what is happening. So when this thing happens, don't forget there are also border areas. People will begin to infiltrate. Criminality will begin to come in. And then people that are also using the opportunity of those activities begin to do their what do I call in that state. So I think the same thing in Benue State. Politics that is supposed to be for the people is turning into a nightmare for Nigerians because of personal interest. The governor may not be talking, or those governors may not be talking because it's not their community. They will not be talking because it affects the community that didn't vote for them. They may not be taking action because, this is not their senatorial zones. So these are the peculiarities of the issues. And when somebody begins to say federal government, security, my dear, we have all these apparatus in the state. We have the state, what they call it, the CP, the Commission of Police in the states, given to them by the federal government. We have the Director General of the DSS. We have all the armed forces are in the states. This is the time for analysis, pure and thorough analysis of the situation.
Now, Tayo, you've heard what the comrade has said. Now, let me just give a little definition. We all know what self-defense is. Someone comes into my territory. You come into my house uninvited. Even if you're not armed and you come quarreling and fighting, and the quarrel escalates, and I discover that the person becomes violent, what is expected of me is to defend myself. Now, I got this from Wikipedia. It says self-defense involves defending the health and well-being of oneself from harm. It says the use of the right of self-defense as a legal justification for the use of force in times of danger is available in many jurisdictions. Now, you've heard what the comrade has said. He has countered or agreed with what Umar Namadi of Jigawa State said about self-defense plunging the country into anarchy. Of course, reacting to the call for self-defense by retired Theophilus Danjuma. Ironically, is not the only one who has who has called for self-defense amidst rising insecurity in the nation. Well, the comrade has given us his own view from the top. I would also want your take on the matter. Self-defense, will this plunge the country into anarchy? again, when you talk about self-defense, I was saying everyone should arm themselves with gun, cutlasses, knives, as it were. What exactly is expected of Nigerians at this time amid rising insecurity, killings in the nation?
Okay, I think my own take is that self-defense is not a bad idea because of the way the killings are becoming too much. Just like you said, you can't come to my territory and you expect you'll be killing people, and then you expect us. I remember growing up, that I think was in 1991 crisis, at 1991 or 2001 crisis in Jos. I was there with my father, and then people were running helter-skelter, leaving their houses because they were killing. They were, there was a communal fight. And then they started killing themselves. And there's any small communal battle, before you know it, it turns to religious. The one religion killing the other religion, another religion not accepting that they cannot defeat us. They go back and then they try to fight back. And I remember in church then, they told everybody, every man, defend your home. Don't just be at home and watch them kill your family. No matter what you have, just use to defend your home. We're not saying go out and use it anyhow. So it's being controlled. So for me, self-defense is something that everybody, of course, you can't come to my house and then you expect me to just watch you, deal with my people and all that. Of course, you have to defend yourself. And self-defense doesn't mean we buying ammunitions and everything. Self-defense can even be you having all the numbers of the securities in your phone. Is another mode of having self-defense. Having our police emergency numbers and all the numbers you need to have to be able to call for help. Or if need be, find your way to the station. That could also be self-defense. So self-defense comes in different modes, not necessarily getting ammunitions and all that. But for me, I feel that since the government have, I don't want to use the word, maybe they are still coming up, I don't want to use the word failed in their duties. I feel that every family should keep themselves secured wherever they are, and then move away from communal. When you see communal crisis, immediately take off, take shield. That's self-defense. You can take shield, take cover. When you see that there's communal crisis, those days I remember my dad packed all of us and we left the area for a while. Then after a while, when everything had calmed, we returned back because that was where he was working. So what am I trying to say? Self-defense is not necessarily having ammunitions. It could be you having all the security numbers. As something is happening, you have the numbers to call. But it's so unfortunate that even our security emergency numbers, some don't even work. Sometimes even if it works and you call them, they will tell you they are still, maybe there's no fuel in the car, maybe they don't have a car on ground to come, maybe no personnel on duty, no extra personnel on duty to be able to come and all that. So there's a lot going on. And then sometimes I feel that the security officers are not enough. Because sometimes when you call, they tell you don't have enough men to go to that area. Maybe there are a lot of communal crisis and need a quite number of security policemen or armed men to go there, but because they are few, they cannot conquer. In the process, maybe those opponents could even defeat them. So what am I trying to say? The government needs to rise up, just like the governor said, that maybe looking at state policing will go a long way to help. If every state can have their own police. I remember there was a time, that period in that 2001 crisis, they were talking about having vigilantes. They had to train a lot of people. So every community you go to, they have their vigilante groups. So you cannot just come there and come and kill them. The vigilante too will rise up and fight for that community. That was done in 2001 crisis, because we didn't just sit that way. The killings was too much. The massacre was so much that everybody, the church raised their own vigilante. Every community raised their own vigilante, trained them, gave them their little ammunitions that they will hold. So when they come, those vigilante were the ones that may not necessarily be every family should have, you understand, ammunitions. but maybe the vigilantes themselves, maybe they could raise some youths that could be the vigilantes or something, and then train them or something, or that state policing will go a long way to help.
So now, Comrade, you've heard what Tayo said, but I want to come back to what you said, especially using Jos as a case study. You actually help us understand that there's a need for us to define the situation, that there's a difference between banditry, kidnapping and insurgency, and most times communal clashes, most times we just group all together. The moment we hear that there's crisis somewhere, it is imagined that everything is happening, or all of this is the cause of the situation, and our minds just begin to go right, left and center trying to understand. The papers this morning, like you said, you also said that there's a need to find out the real cause of the crisis. Sure. And I was surprised this morning, Mufwang was even saying at this point that there's a need for him to find out the cause. And I'm like, I'm saying at this point in the crisis, we're talking over 3 decades of attacks for Plateau State. Then of course Jos, yes, that's Jos. Benue is now and again. It's something that has become like the norm. But for Plateau itself, for the governor to just say, oh, it is time to find the cause, and I'm thinking he should have known the cause by now, and we should know how to go about tackling it. Now, I would really want you to go back again and give us a breakdown and let the people understand. And there's a difference between banditry, kidnapping, insurgency, and communal clashes. Yeah. But in your own take, what exactly is going on in, of course, we all hear headers attack. Yes. In the middle of it, the Fulani headers come. Last week, I was on the show, and there was a caller from Jos, and it was saying the government knows the people. They know the people, but they're not mentioning it. So I had to ask him, who are the people you're referring to? And he said the Fulani headers, that in the communities where they come, they burn their houses, but the Fulanis, when they come to attack, they single out the houses owned by these people. They don't burn them, but they burn the houses of the residents, those living there. So there's a need for you to let us understand the difference so people would know.
Okay, I think they don't really care. It's also amazing that the governor would, by this time, I think this is for this year, this is the second time it is occurring. It's occurring. And the first time he was crying. So does it mean that they cry and go and sleep? Maybe there's an attack today, and then people give attention to it. Of course, the perpetrators will retrieve. And does it mean that after then they sit down and do nothing? Why are they not setting up vigilante groups? Why are they not setting up architectures that will go into what I call it information gathering, intelligence gathering? Research. Why are they not bringing out the people that are settled with the responsibility to say what is happening here? People are very interested. People are very concerned. People are very, 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 very aware. On this per second pace, people are following up what happens in their vicinity. So you will not say that it is difficult to get informations, but I think they don't care. The problem in Plateau State is pure communal, and they allow it to escalate. When you open your roof to rainfall, you don't detect the wind. You don't detect what the wind takes off from your home. That's true. So that's what is happening. So if you allow two communities to quarrel, allow it to escalate into killings, of course, the ready-made people are there watching, and they will use that avenue to begin to do whatever they want to do. And then in the faces of what we're going to see is banditry and whatever. In that cause, people begin to steal, loot. That is why personally I don't like what they call rioting, because the purpose for rioting is always defeated by people that don't even know what is going on. People can attest to it. Sometimes when you even interview people that are mobilized, they don't even know the cause of fighting. Look at Natasha's issue. Somebody they brought to support. I was even talking
Something else.
So we must be deliberate. It's sad what we are discussing here is because it has not happened to you. Now, like she said, where are all these policemen? Are they not in Tiwa Dajuma's house? All the policemen that are supposed to guard our nations, if he has 3, 4, 5 residents, they are all equipped.
Yes.
In his residence. That is the first point of solution, because these people are supposed to be posted to those communities. The DPOs are crying. Shortage in men. How do you want to claim that you don't know? Who wants to explain what Tiwa Daju means to say phone call? I was listening to you. These things are already there. So when you say self-defense, what do you mean? It's you only want to see. Even now, the military is even finding it difficult to know how arms and ammunition are coming to the country. Now you're even talking about people harming themselves. That's government should now legalize
ammunition.
Are you sure we are up to that? So communal clashes is key and is sole responsibility of the governor to settle. Who are the people? Young citizens in the state or in the communities. They are traditional rulers. Get the factors of what is happening and solve them. They are not doing this because maybe it's because of political interest. Oh, this people didn't vote for me. They have not even developed those places to talk of going there to sort. How big is Plateau State? Let me not praise him too much. Look at what Wike did in River State. Throughout his 8-year tenure, he was very strong when it comes to internal fights. He will never allow it. He will fight it with, because he need to have peace to govern the state. So these are the things that we expect from our governors.
Yes.
And not to keep crying. They have funds for it. They call it security vote. Enough fund for it.
Thank you so much.
So this is the time for the governors to wake up. And in fact, I want to tell you, we are going after this studio. We are writing to those 2 governors and passing a vote of no confidence for them on them. They are not fit to be governors.
Interesting. Right, if you just joined us, it is the press this morning, and we're taking a look at insecurity in Nigeria, the call for self-defense to be or not to be. The governor of Jigawa State has said that this will plunge the country into anarchy. I have 2 guests who agree and 1 who doesn't. We'll take a short break, and when we return, the phone lines will open so you can call in and be part of the discussion. Please do call in. The lines have been buzzing since while my guests were speaking. I do want the same response and emotion when we come back after the break. Stay with us.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why at KAFTAN Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At KAFTAN TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
It's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
and around the world to create signal.
Yes, welcome back. It is still the press. The phone lines are open now. You can call in and have your say. I've had two people call since morning. Hakim from Lagos and Musa Balami from Bronu. Please, I've seen your missed calls. You can call in now and be part of the discussion where we're talking about insecurity in Nigeria. Call for self-defense. Is it a prelude to anarchy? My guests are still here, the comrade and of course the beautiful lady Tayo. All right, so as respect, okay, we have a call. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, Rabiu Salisu from where? From Katsina State. Go ahead, please.
Yes, exactly. My name is Rabiu Salisu from Katsina State.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
So when you look at the current predicament, it is a knee-jerk reaction where a retired military personnel, at least to think of self-defense in Nigeria, that is means allow the government, allow people acquire weapons for self-defense. We did not reach that level in Nigeria because we are not on war. Our problem is internal. Our crises are internal. So it should be treated internally. So there is some certain lackadaisical approach by the government, especially at the starting stage during the president of Muhammadu Buhari. So before the problem reaches this level, they are not to be tackled amicably. Because it happened where in Zamfara State a lot of people are gruesomely killed, murdered on daily basis. When the election comes in Ekiti State, in which 30,000 security personnel were sent to Ekiti for the election of only one day. Where Zamfara State on daily basis, people are being killed, maimed, their houses are burned. The government did not send 1,000 security personnel. So from there, that is why we start questioning ourselves. Is this the government really want to end this problem? Or what are they going to do? So the recent uprising of the Boko Harams, which claimed so many lives in Borno State. So the government at least need to take action. But purposely, as a good citizen, we are not in a war that government allow everybody to defend himself, to acquire guns, because the repercussions will be devastating.
Thank you so much.
So it is not good for that development, but let the government do its best, at least. But it will maybe reach some certain level that anything can happen.
Okay.
But we want to show what from the government to protect its citizens, to end this incessant killing, a merciless killing that is happening everywhere.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we've had our first caller. Of course, it's against self-defense, that these problems are internal, should be tackled internally. Again, the idea is that Nigerians will arm themselves with guns and knives and what have you, and he has called against that. Let us take another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, ma. Good morning, comrade. Good morning, ma. You are on to SND calling from Lagos.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me quickly appreciate KAFTANTV for giving us this ample opportunity to say our mind in terms of the issues in the nation. And first of all, let me look at this security before I look at it in general, the Plateau State issue. To be honest with you, I'm the son of the soil. Like I made mention in one of your programs, in those our days, we mingle together with each other, irrespective of your religious faith, like I said. In my primary school, I went to Islamia primary school from primary 1 to 3. When going to primary 4 to 6, I went to Roman Catholic Mission Primary School, St. Michael RCM Primary School. All together, everybody was there. In
So what's the problem to you? What's the cause of this incessant killing, this crisis
to be honest with you, ever since the crisis in Plateau State 2001, if this issue is on ground up to date, believing me, there is even a hidden agenda, which I think the government and the community and the critical stakeholders to look at it.
Okay.
Because we expect each and every governor to be a conflict resolution manager. Not only Plateau State, because let me be honest with you, any issue attached with first of all, religious crisis, communal crisis, or tribal crisis, it's very, very, very difficult to get down and then do the needful, unless if you are honest and sincere. And like I told you, in those days, we mingle together, we sleep together, we eat together.
Now let me ask you this question. You've already told us that you're the son of the soil. That means you're from Jos. In your opinion, what do you think is the root cause of the problem in Jos? This killing that is unending.
Yeah, that is what I'm trying to tell you. There is even hidden agenda. If not, look at what happened in Durham.
What's the hidden agenda in your opinion? What's the hidden agenda in your opinion?
There are evil people who are okay. If not, what bring the issue of settlers and indigenous? What is written in our Nigerian constitution? Everybody is allowed to go everywhere and speak and communicate and do his business. So if the Nigerian and remember, anything that come in the constitution is oversees any activities in every state. So if not, what brings the issue of settler and the indigenous? Where is our representatives? What written is in the Nigerian constitution? Are we practicing it? If not, what brings the issue of settlers and indigenous? So for how long shall we remain in this present predicament and we believe things are okay? Things are not okay. In those days, like I told you, we sleep together, we eat together, we mingle together, we communicate. So there is gap of communication, and we must have to bridge that gap. In fact, let me be honest with you, our politicians should learn how to bridge the gap of religion and ethnicity. Otherwise, we keep on going in this present predicament, which I don't pray for.
Thank you so much.
It didn't mean what is going on in Plateau State, there is even hidden agenda.
All right, so you have the caller there, says is the son of the soil. He has told us that there's a problem between settlers and indigents. And he made mention of what the Constitution says. Now, it is believed that, like you rightly said, the governor himself should know the root cause of the problem, and it is high time that these problems are tackled once and for all. You mentioned that is the role of the governor to protect, but what is the place of the federal government, who is in charge of the armed forces?
They have done theirs. That is to send protection for its citizens. They are there in the state. I told you, the CP is there. He's a federal man. The director of DSS is there. He's a federal man. All the armed forces have their representation in the state for the governor to use. I like one statement he used. He said, all governors should be conflict resolution. Yes. Managers. It's key. You cannot say this is somebody from the state. The issue is purely communal. And when you are fighting in your house, you expect the next neighbor or the neighbor from the other street to come and settle the fight in your house. You don't have that capacity as a leader. So that is why the first response from the presidency was what? The governor should settle it. Don't forget this, the president we have today was a state governor who passed through the same. His own was even an economic problem. During Obasanjo, when Obasanjo was president, his own one has the economic problem because he created LGAs. He was starved of funds. So he has to come back and see how he can manage those crises.
I think we have another call. Let us take a call. Good morning.
Hello?
Yeah, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Timothy Simon from Kaduna State.
Simon, go ahead.
The issue of insurgency we are talking about and how to
your TV is interfering.
This issue.
Please tune down. Just tune down your TV, the volume of your TV set.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah, go
Can
ahead.
you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, about the issue of...
Your TV is still interfering. Your TV is still interfering, please.
So what I'm trying to put across... Hello, can you hear me now?
Okay, so please, when you call, just ensure that the volume of your TV is tuned down so we don't have any interference. Now, we have Akim who's been trying to call. Akim, go ahead, please.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Akim. Go ahead, Akim.
Okay, thank you. Let me be fast in the GP. Like the other day when I called, I told you people that, this issue of Plateau is more local than issue of international issue. So, and then the governor actually has a lot to do in this issue. That is one. And secondly, I am not in full support of the former General T.Y. Danjuma's statement, but you cannot completely dispute his statement. Come on, we are all Nigerians. We can see what is going on in the country. This so-called terrorists or whatever you want to call them, whatever guys, they more or less overwhelm us. So you cannot take it from the society. The society will rise and defend themselves if the government is not ready to defend them, because we can see the very good example that attack almost every day, kidnapping. I'm not talking about particular about Tinubu regime. He only just came to power. This thing has been for quite a long time. And thirdly, what is so difficult when we understand, I'm not in particular on the Fulani, I'm talking about the men and especially those terrorists among them. You understand? And the reason why you see an example I'm just making reference, in the Southwest, when Sunday Igboho rose against them, it's not because he hates Fulani, but the obvious examples are there that people can testify that these people are killing people. What are the government doing in order to stop the gun and weapon in the hands of the bandits and terrorists of a team? The government has to do a lot before government and the people can calm down. Without that, you can't kidnap my people and say I should calm down. For how many times you keep on begging Nigerians? And the other day when I called, unfortunately, the issue that happened at Edo State, like I say, though we have to make reference to it, even though I don't want to remember that, the unfortunate death of the people, the hunters. Well, another thing that the government has to do is that each governor of the state, at this point in time in Nigeria, you cannot come from your state carrying guns, say you are going to another state, say you are in the name of hunting. The problem is that you will be mistaken as a terrorist. I'm so sorry. That is just the plain truth. You understand? Especially even when you are on a journey in trucks like that. You know, it's very suspicious. So the governors of each of the states, I don't want to be particular in the north, even the southwest and the south, tell your people not to say they are going to the other states in hunting because they will be hunted. I'm so sorry. Because people are hungry right now. I pray for the President Tinubu to be able to get head out of it. But apart from that, only the President Tinubu is not going to be able to solve the problem.
Yeah, thank you, Akim, for calling. Akim mentioned something about headers carrying guns. That's another very big problem that Nigerians have talked about. Why do you allow headers to carry AK-47, despite the fact that we've had all those problems that we have in terms of insecurity? People can't go to the farms anymore. This has led to a cost in a rise in food, across the country. The economy is suffering so much from the insecurity that we were suffering. People and the farmers in the north have to pay protection fee to go to their farms. I remember a couple of years ago where over 100 rice farmers were killed by Boko Haram or terrorist groups. This has affected the economy, it has affected our food production, and it's just on and on. I really want your take on this, where you have headers carry AK-47 to protect cows while they kill humans.
so sad and disheartening that I don't even know where they get the AK-47. So that's number one. That means they have sponsors, because where did they get it from? And the headers are not, in quotes, you know, the elite that you say, okay, maybe they have that kind of resources to be able to get the AK-47. So they must have a supplier. There must be somebody that is supporting them, or that is financing that. So, and it's so sad, like in Plateau State, many farmers left their lands. I remember there was a land that we also have towards the barricade. We had to abandon it. Nobody is farming there again, and that's the reason why there's a rise in you know, production of food and all that. That's why there's a rise in, you know, in the prices of things in the market, because many farmlands have been abandoned. Many people are not farming their lands anymore because they are afraid of headers. And many times even they just release their cows. They go into people's farm, eat whatever they've planted after you've spent so much to plant on a land, and then we just release their cows to finish people's in fact, there was one I saw on Facebook. I don't know whether they sprayed insecticide, so as the cows went to eat, all the cows died, and those headers still went, and innocent people are the ones that will suffer for the cows dying. One cow is like the head of 5 or 10 people.
Now, because we don't have enough time as we begin to round up, what's the solution? Now, you've already agreed that Nigerians harming themselves won't plunge the country into anarchy. That with the situation that we have in terms of insecurity because of time, in your opinion, what do we do as Nigerians? What's the role of individuals, and of course, the solution to all of these problems?
Okay, like the role of the government, I'll start with that, is number one, the governors, like comrade rightly said, should put an eye on their states and do the needful to ensure they know the problem and sort out the problem. Number two, solution is people or individuals should organize in their areas. All these vigilante, because that's what happened in 2001, that helped a lot for that crisis. Vigilante groups, train them, let them, pay them, train them, equip them, pay them, for them to also put an eye on farmlands and the community and people's life. That will go a long way to help. Yes.
Yeah. So, comrade, time not day again. Yeah. As we talk.
So I think they should approve of what they call state
policing. Yeah.
Because every state has its peculiarities when it comes to insecurity, and then they should release those policemen that are in their houses.
Yeah.
The elites are also contributing seriously to this. We already shortage of manpower in the country for security guardians, and these persons are guiding zones, people, cities that don't have any problem. If you take a statistic of people as security servicemen in Plateau State now, all of them that are deployed to that state are in the houses of elites, leaving the communities that are supposed to have effects of governance or protection. So I think we should keep clean slates to those issues. The governor really need to do a sweep of the states.
Well, there you have it. Our guest this morning, as we discuss insecurity in Nigeria, call for self-defense, asking the question if it is a prelude to anarchy. We have two guests who have spoken for and against the situation, and of course, again, what do we say? The killings in the land should stop. That is what we're calling for. We're calling for peace in Nigeria. We're calling for love, to supersede hate in the country. Someone called and was talking about settlers and indigents, referring to the Nigerian constitution. We'll talk about banditry, kidnapping, insurgency all across the nation, and people have spoken their minds about the situation in the country. Some have said, oh, it is the role of the governor of a particular state to ensure that, peace reign in their state. Others have said, look, the federal government is not even doing enough. What they do is not enough to safeguard certain parts and ensure that peace reign in these communities. But our voices rise together this morning and we're calling for peace in Benue State. We're calling for peace in Plateau State, and we're saying, put down the guns, put down the knives, put down the hate, and let love reign. Another caller who called in said, look, he grew up, is a son of the soil. Primary school in a Muslim school, primary school, secondary school in a Christian secondary school, and there was love. And one morning it all disappeared like a puff of air. And now and again we see people raise arms and cut down the lives of a neighbor they said good morning to. So we're asking and calling for peace in Nigeria, and we pray that in our generation we see a peaceful, constructive, developed Nigeria that will live for our children yet unborn. I want to appreciate my guest on the show this morning, Tayo Laniyi, who is a social analyst, and of course Comrade Dr. Duke Alamboye, who is the president of Nigeria Youth Organization and chairman Green Assembly Initiative. We appreciate you. I appreciate you for always honoring the invite to come help us on the show. My name is Anire Binitie. Stay safe, stay positive. For me,